This Ricky from Trailer Park Boys lookalike isn't actually pouring jalapeno, but okra, or lady's finger. And I know this because this is a painting called Okra Smugglers by contemporary Polish-American artist Henryk Fantazos. Although a glance might lead you to believe these came from a Renaissance painting, this is actually painted in 2007. Some of the other clues being this clothing made out of an accordion, which was invented in 1822, and him wearing a fedora and wristwatch, both only becoming popular in early 20th century. But the resemblance to Renaissance paintings isn't a coincidence. Fantazos considers himself a proto-Renaissance painter and uses egg tempera, a technique used primarily in European medieval and early Renaissance paintings. Fantazos argues that an artist's task is to give a portrait of the world. An artist has to prove that his enumeration and profound knowledge of the world qualifies him to deserve the special position in society. A stance also taken by Renaissance painters who painted from reality and the visible world. Fantazos have moved to and lived in Southern America, and from there, worked elements of the South into each of his paintings. Okra Smugglers is part of the Face of the South collection, a series of paintings dedicated to capturing its beauty. Yet, Fantazos' paintings are anything but realistic. In each painting lives a world that is obviously set in our own, yet containing fantastical and surreal elements. This mix of the real and fantasy is what some call magical realism. By grounding the roots in reality, the fantastical elements provide a striking contrast to provide a new perspective on real life. Often, this reveals hidden meanings about our society, or to give some sort of political critique. And to a Quora question, Fantazos had answered. Magic realism creates images of poetical or metaphorical point of view, very much like a poem. So, why exactly is okra being shoved down this woman's pants? What is the metaphor or hidden meaning to be found in this painting? Why is the woman giving such a vague smile, while gazing so mysteriously into the watcher's eyes? Smuggling okra is obviously an absurd idea. The harvested vegetable doesn't need to be smuggled, much less by stuffing into people's panties. But okra isn't native to America. The plant was introduced through the slave trade and became commonplace by the 19th century. Now, okra takes central place in Southern American cuisine, being used in soups, stews, or simply fried. The word okra came from the Igbo word okru, which I am definitely not pronouncing correctly. Western African okra dishes transformed into the dish gambo, which is also the word for okra in the Congo and Angola area of Africa. In 1808, the import of slaves was banned by Congress, but this didn't stop smugglers from doing so. If we were to look at Fantazos' painting as an allegory of the South's history, where the okra is the representation of African slaves, does this mean that the painting is saying, slavery should kiss my ass? Well, I thought I might as well just ask the artist himself and emailed him. Turns out, there wasn't any kind of deeper meaning when he painted it, as he wrote. The image simply came to me as both intriguing and funny, which is consistent to what he had said in this interview. A vision flies into my mind and demands to be painted. I guess, sometimes things just don't need explanation. He drew simply because he felt like it. Perhaps by detaching meaning from art, can we then appreciate the painting purely by its aesthetics? And by comparing the fantastical world, that we can appreciate our own better. Either way, I'm just glad that this painting exists.